Good morning, ladies, gents and Pikachus. A little video about communism. I've just noticed some comments, some action on my Joey Barton video from last week. And I likened the fact that he's having his reputation destroyed after saying one comment, and they're using this reputation destruction as a means to censor his future comments. I likened this to communism. Now, there's been some action in the comments slating me and taking down this idea that communism has anything to do with it. No, it's not communism. I'm politically ignorant. Reputation destruction. There you go. So I'm assuming that that person is a pro-communist person, if not a Chinese communist himself. So let's go through some of the things, some of the points, the particular points why I think communism is bad. 1. They claim that communism is the workers owning the means of production. Now, that's obviously not true. Just look at the communist countries. China. Do Chinese workers own the means of production? No, they do not. Do they even own the places they work in? No, they do not. Do they even own their own stuff, their own cars, their own houses? No, they do not. So that nips in the bud this untruth that communists are all about the workers. This is just a lie. The only reason they claim to be about the workers is because the workers is everybody apart from the leadership of the Communist Party. And obviously, if the leaders at the Communist Party wanted to, they could stop wasting money on stupid space projects that don't go anywhere and military spending when there's no wars on. And by the way, they wouldn't be able to win any wars, which is why they don't attack anyone. If they wanted, they could spend that money on the means of production and then actually produce something. Or even better, they could redistribute that money to the workers personally like they promise and encourage those workers to be creative in their own unique way. You know, give them rights like we have in our democracy and encourage creativity from the people. But no, they don't do that. They think that's a terrible idea. They just collect up all the money and all the resources and sit on it and let everybody else starve and have nothing, but they still have to go to work as the means of production. So really, that's the conclusion of this. The workers don't own the means of production. The workers are the production and they are owned by the regime, which is why the regime are always walking around in plush suits, driving about in fancy cars, living in big houses, travelling all over the world and having free speech for themselves, while the workers have none of those things and aren't allowed free speech. That's why you never hear anyone in China slag off the Communist Party. It's not like the entirety of China is all agreed that communism is great and they love it. Far from it. But they're not allowed to speak. If they speak, they are attacked, jailed. They have their social credit score removed, and that means they can't use public transport, they can't access public health, and their neighbours are all told to hate them and their pay is reduced. So that's the legacy of communism in the modern world. And the communism through history, the legacy of historical communism, i.e. the Soviet Union, i.e. Germany, West Germany before World War II, speaks for itself. It's no longer a thing. Both of those places are no longer in existence. Soviet Union is gone. West Germany is gone. So, if it was that great, why are those places gone? If communism in China was so great, why do they need to suppress and oppress their people and remove the idea of free speech in order to stop people saying anything against it? I think we here in Britain, Europe and America, we actually have a better communist system than the communist countries do. Only ours is voluntary. So you don't have to do it. If you don't want to work here or you have something wrong with you and you can't work, fine, you can sit at home and collect benefits and get everything on the state and the state will look after you. Cool, communism. But if you would like to go out and be a creative entrepreneur, an inventor, or just go to work and have your own life, you can do that. You can use the benefits in the communist system to build yourself up to a regular level, and then you can go off into the democracy and be creative. You can lead your field. You can be anything you would like to be. And if it doesn't work out and you spend all your money back down to zero, don't worry, you can just fall back into the little net, the little safety net of sub-communism that we offer here called the benefits system. But it doesn't mean you don't have free speech. I can say whatever I want against the government. I can say David Cameron's a communist spy and a lying weasel asshole. I can say that the last government was full of absolute jokers and Boris Johnson shouldn't have eaten that fucking cake during the lockdown. I can say that the Labour Party and the Tory Party are coalescing and working together to screw this country out of our free speech and democracy. I can say that. and I don't lose any money. I'm not going to be attacked, apart from idiots on YouTube from other countries might do. I can say what I want, because we have free speech here. We have a means of production which is owned by the workers, but it's not centralised and reported on and supervised by the government, because we are also capitalists. So I can own my own stuff, I can own my own business, I can have a car that belongs to me, I can pay people money out of my wallet, and I can make profit into my wallet, and it's all down to me. The greatness of freedom of speech, which allows me to think and have these ideas and be creative and share my ideas with others and profit, and democracy, which protects those rights via the state. But if I don't like it, I'll just vote them out. That's another thing communism wishes it had but doesn't. Voting, that's the real way to empower the workers. Give them money, give them a vote, give them free speech. But communism can't do it. You want to know why communism can't do it? Because it's fearful. It knows the truth. And the truth is this, dear ladies, gents and Pikachus. If these communist countries were to give free speech to the people and have an open vote without the threat of violence or coercion or social credit destruction and reputation destruction, guess what would happen? Almost everyone would vote communism straight out the door, and they would vote to have democracy and free speech, and they would love it. So that's what I hope they get in future. I really love old Chinese, traditional Chinese culture, and traditionally Chinese people were lovely, but at the moment it's hard to trust them because they are under the thumb of communism, and there is a gun to their head. They're being coerced with force and threats of violence and threats of social reduction. And because of that, they have to do what they're told. Otherwise, their life will be miserable and very difficult. So although now, because of the actions of the Communist Party and their evil lies and their mistreatment of their own people and the fact that they've destroyed their country and their culture and their economy, I can now not trust Chinese people who come here because for all I know, they're under the thumb of communism and they don't have free will. So even if they loved the idea of democracy and free speech before, even if they're here in a country that will offer them that, because their family will get attacked back home if they don't toe the party line and do what the Communist Party tells them, they have no option. They're slaves of the Communist Party. In fact, that's the conclusion of this video. Communists are all slaves. So everything they say means nothing to me. They're not saying it out of a place of free will. They're compelled by an evil regime, a communist government. And it's out of threat of violence. They're being coerced into saying things the government wants them to say. And they're not thinking for themselves, and they're not able to speak for themselves. And that's the reason they can't be trusted here in democratic Britain. So I hope that's cleared up any misconceptions you may have had about communism. It's not ignorant at all to have a go at the evils of communism, especially in a democratic country where you are able to do that freely without the threat of violence. It actually shows good nature, it shows heart, it shows morality. So that's the conclusion of this video. Be moral, be good, don't put up with these bullshit lies from these communist sympathisers because they're under the thumb of an evil government at the threat of violence and they have no free will. They're slaves. So feel bad for them, pity them, but on the same hand as that, know they will stab you in the back if they're told to. And they'll feel terrible about it, but they won't be able to say. Thanks a lot, communism. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. The proof: communists have to lie. They're slaves to the lie, and if they don't lie, they will be punished, so they're always going to lie. And they'll feel guilty if they ever face the truth, so that's why they hate Christians like me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.